La la la, hey, yeah, yeah.
Well, from Christmas to New Year's, the holidays are often a stressful time, from friends to family to food to finances. There are so many different things that people are often juggling. And here to help us deal with the frenzy is Ruth Sirman. She is a professional mediator and she joins us today. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, are we stressing ourselves out too much?
I think holidays in general, I wouldn't just stick to Christmas and New Year's by any means.
Right.
Holidays in general. And I would include in that, Lois, things like special events. You know, have you ever planned a wedding?
Yes.
A retirement party? A family reunion?
Right.
Any of those kinds of events where you're bringing a group of people together, especially family. And my grandmother used to say that friends are God's apology for relatives. Which seems to resonate with a lot of people. You know, sometimes the people who are coming aren't necessarily the people we would want to choose to spend huge amounts of time with.
Right.
And so we all have busy lives to start with. Add in the extra stress, the extra expectations, the extra loads that we put on ourselves. And no matter what it is we're planning, no matter what it is we're trying to do, we are bound to end up just layering that extra bit of stress and crazy making, essentially.
You mentioned expectations, Ruth. Are expectations unrealistic? Is that part of the problem?
They could be.
You're so politically correct. No wonder you're a mediator, Ruth.
They could be. It's always interesting to see how people define what ready means.
Okay.
Right.
Is ready that everything has to be perfect, everything has to be cleaned, everything has to be cooked, everything has to be just right.
Right.
And every gift has to be ideal. And we've got this whole sense of if I miss anything, somehow or another, I've dropped the ball and so on. So we put some pretty unrealistic expectations on ourselves.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I've got kids. Holidays, you know, especially the major holidays, they're often about family and they're about having fun and so on. And I used to find that I drove myself crazy trying to get everything ready. So I quit. I quit. I decided that, especially when you have 4 kids, the house is typically a bit of a mess to start with. And so when you have a holiday that involves people doing things and activities, and certainly for Christmas it involves presents, birthdays involve presents, weddings involve presents, people are going to unwrap things.
Right.
This creates mess. So in my world, I just decided to clean up after the holiday and stop trying to clean up ahead of time because I was just going to make another mess anyhow. So
good for you.
Quick tidy up.
That's good logic.
And then go from there.
Right.
We had all kinds of things that we came up with as ways of doing it. But one of the things, if you decide to change your focus, doesn't hurt to talk to the other people involved. I didn't. The first time that I did it, I could see kind of the, what's wrong with Mom?
She's letting everything just go.
Do you think she's gone just a little... So, you know, it doesn't hurt to engage people and talk about what's really important to you. What do you need to do in order to have fun? And I think the other thing, sort of as a society, is we've lost sight of the concept of enough.
Right.
Enough cleaning, enough cooking, enough spending.
I'm glad you mentioned that because financial stress when it comes to any special occasion is a huge one for people, right?
Yeah. And so, you know, in many families, people are actually starting to talk about how many bills do we want at the end of this? And what are we gaining? Is that what the holiday's all about? And I mean, there's all kinds of belief patterns and values and so on around that. But from a personal perspective, is that what it's about? You know, am I driving myself crazy because, you know, what if your gift to Lois is bigger than my gift to Lois? And it probably will be, but in that sense.
I wouldn't count on it, Lois.
But in that sense, you know, what is it about? Is it about outdoing each other, or is there a recognition? And we had this conversation in my family when the kids were in school and stuff. They didn't have a whole lot of money. I wasn't floating in money. And so we came to the conclusion that gifts should just be fun.
Yeah.
And that was what we decided to do. So in that sense, we've got away from that whole expectation thing. And I have to admit, It's really easy. Like, I actually enjoy the
Well, you
holidays
can see
now.
that even in her conversation.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
relieved.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a sense of relief around you.
There's a nonchalantness about it too. You know, you think, oh, it's just another event.
And the other thing is, how much food can you eat?
Right.
You know, how much food do you need to eat?
Right.
So our Christmas dinners aren't quite as lavish as they used to be in terms of their, you know, that it's a meal. Ditto for birthdays and others. What do you want to have? You know, what's your favorite food? My favorite story was when I was in Scotland visiting my daughter just before Christmas a couple of years ago. And I said to her, do you want to cook something for Christmas dinner? And I'm thinking, hope they have turkeys, you know, like all of that. And she said, yeah, chili and tapioca pudding. And that's what we cooked for Christmas dinner before I left to fly back to Canada. It was absolutely amazing. It worked for her, it worked for me, and everybody else in the hostel thought it was great because we made enough for everybody.
Well, Ruth, thank you so much for bringing some perspective
Yeah.
to us today and for really sharing your insights, because I think that a lot of people out there are kind of breathing a sigh of relief now.
Well, conflicts can come too when our expectations are a little out of whack,
Right.
and conflict in any kind of holiday is just added stress.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Thank you very much.
Na, na, na.